Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. Very glad you're with us this afternoon. It's June 13th, 2023. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just put them in the chat window. And as our speaker takes a break, we'll be sure to get those answered for you. For those watching on Facebook, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment field. We're monitoring that feed and we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Also, for those people on Zoom, if you'd like to connect with everybody else who's on Zoom, put in your contact information. Tell us who you are, what you're looking for. Put in your LinkedIn profile, connect everybody else who's on the call today. Great opportunity to expand your connections. And you never know who will be able to help you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. If you see me in person, I always have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We have a really interesting program coming up this Friday. I'll tell you about that at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. Remember, your LinkedIn profile, your resume is not going to get you a job. What they will get you is a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. So for more information, just go to dallaspitcrew.com. All right, well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who rotate through on a monthly basis talking about LinkedIn. They come from different areas of career search and career placement. Today, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She works for Lee Heck Harrison. She works with job seekers on a daily basis. And she's going to talk about how to drive recruiters to your LinkedIn profile. So Ruth, thank you very much for being with us, and it's all yours.
Thank you so much. We're going to be going through the PowerPoint presentation first, and then we'll go to my LinkedIn profile so that we can see things in action. It makes it a little bit easier to understand what we're talking about that. Since it's a fairly small group, if you've got questions, be sure to raise your hand, shout out, put something in the chat section. As Jeff said, he's going to be taking a look at that, and we'll cover any questions that come up whenever they come up. Now, the thing to know about LinkedIn is that everybody's got a different view of what it should look like, how you should use it. You have 4 different people talking about LinkedIn. Thank you, Jeff, for setting all of that up. We may emphasize different things. A lot of it is going to depend on what you feel is most useful to you. So take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt, but here's the way I look at LinkedIn and how we can drive recruiters to look at your profile more closely. So 2 reasons to use LinkedIn in general. One is that when a recruiter has your resume in their hand and they want to find out a little bit more about you, they're going to go to LinkedIn. They know that a resume is simply a set amount of information that is for that job at that company, and LinkedIn should have more information. But the other side of using LinkedIn is that more and more recruiters are using LinkedIn in order to find talent quickly. It's said that there are over 1/3 of all job offerings these days from major companies are from a recruiter in their company going to LinkedIn, putting in a title, a couple of skills, coming up with a list of people who qualify for that. Recruiters make a contact with them, ask if they want to interview for this particular role, and it moves very quickly from there. So you need to have information on LinkedIn that is going to supplement your resume, but you're also going to need to have enough information on LinkedIn that recruiters will be able to find you. And the thing to talk about first is that LinkedIn creates a score for your profile every day. And the score is based on your activity and the types of fields that you have filled in. So your general profile, the content, the completeness of it, how many network connections you have. Do you have anything in your interest area as far as people you're following who are influencers or companies that you're interested in? Are you doing job searches? Are you using the networking capabilities? Are you looking at the home page and commenting on that? All of those are going to increase your score. And the higher score you have, the more LinkedIn is going to reward you by putting you toward the top of a recruiter search. Once you stop having activity on your LinkedIn profile, say that you are comfortable with content and you've got your job search alerts set up and you've networked with everybody you can think of, you stop using it, your score is going to go down and it's going to be harder to find you. Now, you cannot see the score that LinkedIn gives you, nor will LinkedIn tell us what the score is for any individual activity. But we can make some guesses that are fairly good. We know that if somebody writes a referral, if they write a recommendation for you, that's probably going to work more than if they simply click on a skill and say that you are good at that skill. And the same way for you. If you want to increase your score, do the harder things. Write the recommendations for other people. Don't just go out another profile and click and say that they got a skill. So how does that work on the recruiter search? Well, when a recruiter is using the LinkedIn recruiter software from LinkedIn, they're able to put in a job title and a location and some of the skills that they think lead to success. In this case, looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area with skills in business strategy and analytics, LinkedIn is going to give them 42, close to 43,000 people who match those skills. LinkedIn never does anything randomly. The people who show up as 1, 2, and 3 on this list are the ones who have a more complete LinkedIn profile and who are probably much more active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows a recruiter to use some spotlight features, and the spotlight features appear at the top of the page. The recruiter can use as many of them as they want, but one of them is open to new opportunities. Have you indicated to LinkedIn that you're interested in finding another role? You can either have that as being visible to recruiters only or visible to all LinkedIn members. The recruiters who are using LinkedIn recruiter software will be able to see that either way. It used to be that if you had a job, it was easier to find a new job. It's not that way anymore. Over the past 3 years, there's been a significant shift because so many companies have had layoffs that have let people go who were immensely talented. So now recruiters look at people who are unemployed, recognize they were probably caught up in a restructuring, a resizing in order to make a company a little bit more efficient in these times. They start picking up the people who were let go who were strong. Now, another thing that the Spotlight features allows you to look for is, do you have company connections? So if you are connected to anybody within this company, you're going to come up higher on the search because it's assumed that you know a little bit more about the culture, maybe the activities of that company. And at least you'll recognize that company's name when the recruiter contacts you on LinkedIn. Are you engaged in the talent brand of the company? That means that you're following the company on LinkedIn, which allows the company to add information and notices to your homepage about the company's activities, its new products, its financials. Saying that you're interested in the talent brand means that you're interested in the company in general. Also, a feature that LinkedIn measures but does not tell you about is the likely to respond indicator. If a company is looking for somebody with talents that are similar to yours, and you're found on LinkedIn, the recruiter contacts you, says, here's the job we have. Would you like to talk about it? If you ignore that person, you're likely to respond, percent goes down. If you respond in any way whatsoever to that recruiter, then your likely to respond score goes up. So even if you're not interested in the job that they are presenting to you, you have to respond to the recruiter. And it can be as simple as, that's not the field I'm interested in. I'm looking for a more senior job. I don't want to relocate. Whatever you want to say to them to take you off the list that the recruiter has made will help you out, because now at least you've responded. And now LinkedIn knows a little bit more about what you're looking for and might be more precise on how they present you to recruiters. Now, this response on your messaging page to recruiters, that's only appropriate for recruiters. There are a lot of people who sell things on LinkedIn. You don't owe them an answer at all. So if you're getting notices from people who say that they're willing to help you rewrite your LinkedIn or help you find a job, or are you interested in financial services, you can ignore those. That will not go into the likely to respond. Past applicants are also a plus. So a recruiter will consider you more carefully if this is the second, third, fourth time that you've applied for a job for their company. It means that you're more interested in the company, probably know a little bit more about their products and how they work, and you're probably going to stay longer at the company once they hire you. So now the recruiter has this list of nearly 43,000 total candidates. They start narrowing it down using the spotlight features. And as they scroll through and look at people, notice how little information LinkedIn gives these recruiters. It'll give the name, it'll give the title, it'll give the headline area and the past couple jobs. Not much more information. The recruiter is going to have to go onto the profile itself in order to get the most information. But not having the information in the headline area, whether this person is just a project manager, a senior project manager, is going to, it's an area that you need to fill in so that the recruiters have more information about you. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So, priorities on the LinkedIn algorithm. Mutual interest is going to be the biggest indicator of whether you're going to show up on a recruiter search. Have you indicated that you'll respond? These are all the spotlight features we just talked about. Are you engaged on LinkedIn, and are you interested in our company? After that, they're going to be looking at your job title and the key skills and whether you passed a skill quiz that might be appropriate for that. But can't emphasize enough that utilizing LinkedIn in order to connect to companies is going to be a huge part of how recruiters are able to find you. So how are we going to increase our visibility? The first area is the headline. That information is provided to the recruiter and is quite often the only information the recruiter has in order to determine whether you're going to be right for this job. We normally have two different titles, and then we have a value statement. Increasing productivity in highly regulated industries, creating value for business through effective marketing strategies. It can be something that indicates where your strengths are. It doesn't need to be in a sentence format. If you're in IT and say we've got a full stack application developer here, putting in that they are strong in SQL, JavaScript, AWS, and Node.js are going to be important, much more so than a value statement that would be in a sentence. You can also put in something that's a little bit more clever, IT project manager. I can explain high tech to my mom, business analyst, introvert living in a department of extroverts. Be careful about using humor because senses of humor vary dramatically. And if you're looking for a job, you probably want to stick with something that is more indicative of your skills. The higher you are in an organization, the more strategic your headline needs to be. So if we're looking for a director level, they probably could put in skills like communication and strategy, but helping the world become more customer centric is going to give a lot more information about the strategic value. And in the interview process, you can talk about the steps to become there and talk more about the actual skills that get you into that position. So higher level, more strategic headline. If you are in a job that values the specific hard skills or technological skills, put those in. But you only have 220 characters, so use it wisely. Do not put in looking for a new job, looking for new opportunities. There are other ways to show that on LinkedIn. Using that banner is a good one. That you don't need to use valuable real estate like your headline in order to indicate that you're looking for a role. Now, the skill assessment quiz is one of the newer features on LinkedIn. It actually came up about 2 years ago. What recruiters had found is that when they take a look at people's skills and see the number of people who have indicated that there is a strength in that skill, they have endorsed or have a lot of endorsements in that area, it doesn't necessarily translate into a pure set of skills that can be used. So LinkedIn created the skill assessments. They are in 3 different categories. You can have technical skills like C++ or Python. You can have business skills, which are generally the Microsoft suite, and design. If you pass one of these skills, LinkedIn tells us that you are 20% more likely to be hired for a job that requires that as an indicator of success. So it's a good thing to have. Recruiters are looking for that. The skill test itself, it's between 15 and 20 multiple choice questions. It is a timed test. You have to do it in one session, so you can't go back and forth out of it. You only need a 70% in order to pass the test and be awarded a badge. And the badge is this check mark next to the skill. If you don't pass the test, if you get less than a 70, you can retake the test, but you can't retake it until 3 months have passed. And the badge does not stay on your skills forever. It will expire after 12 months on the assumption that there will be new features that come out in these areas, and LinkedIn wants you to show that you know about these new features. So how do recruiters look for people who have passed a test? Well, in LinkedIn Recruiter, you've got the basic information on the title of the location and the skills. But in this area right after the skills, it says, I want to see the people, I want to prioritize on this list the people who have passed at least one of these skills. And there are 3 skill tests in this set of skills. JavaScript, Swift, and Ruby on Rails all have tests associated with them. So the people who are coming up on this search, you can see which ones of the tests they have passed. So if you are in a position where Excel is going to be a major part of your job, go out and take the Excel quiz, because recruiters are going to be able to see that. Recruiters are going to prioritize that if they feel it's essential for that job, and it brings you up higher in the search. Now, skills that you need to have. Your resume is generally a maximum of 2 pages, and that limits the number of skills that you can put on a resume. Normally, we don't put personal skills, soft skills, managerial skills on a resume, but you do need to put them in LinkedIn. And the most demanded in-demand skills in this year are the list through here. So management, communication, customer service. You need to have these someplace in your profile. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the skills section because you have a limit of 50 skills there. You can put them in your about section. You can put them in your headline. You can put them in your experience section, but somewhere in your LinkedIn profile, these in-demand skills should appear. Now, if you're looking for remote jobs, working from home jobs, then you need to add the self-management skills that are listed here. We've got 4 of them: active learning, resilience, stress tolerance, and self-motivation. Recruiters are more comfortable offering you a job that is remote if you have the skills that indicate that you can do that. Not everybody is good at working from home. If you think you are and you think you want to prioritize a remote or a hybrid job, add these in at some point. Now you can check your skills against what LinkedIn thinks is the norm for those skills by going out onto your profile. And let's go ahead and do that now because it's probably easier to look at that in real time. So if we're taking a look on our resume, we're going to have information up to 220 characters that talk about what it is you do well. Really give it a punch, give it something that you think a new company is going to be looking for. But to check your skills, you're going to go into this more. And in the more, LinkedIn allows you to build a resume. When you click on build a resume, you can either upload it or you can create it from your profile. You're going to want to create it from your profile. And LinkedIn wants to know, what were you trying to do on your profile? What kind of job are you really targeting? So it's asking for a job title. And let's say that instead of being in learning and development, I want to be a project manager. I'll apply that. And LinkedIn will give me my LinkedIn profile as it would look like if this were in a resume. And I can download it and use it as a resume. But it's saying if you're in a project manager position that you're looking for, here are the skills that are normally seen in project manager that you have, but here are some that you don't have. And you may want to add those in order so that recruiters will be able to find you a little bit easier. So a quick way to find out if you've got the skills that are normally seen for the role that you're looking for is to go in, create the resume, and see what LinkedIn is saying about the skills that match. Everybody comfortable with where that came from? Okay. As long as Jeff is nodding, I'm okay. Other things that you're going to be looking for is that the analytics are telling you how well you're doing in the search functions. So how many people are really looking at you? If you're posting, how active is that? How well have people responded to that? And here's the search appearances. How often have you been found by recruiters when they're doing a search? As you're working on making your LinkedIn profile the best it can be, you're going to be watching these analytics and making sure that those numbers are going up. Are you being seen? Are you being found? There's no magic number on, oh my gosh, you need to have 50 here and 20 here or 40 here. Just make sure that it's going to be increasing as you add additional information to your profile. In your area in your headline, you're going to be putting in 1, 2, sometimes 3 titles that are going to be part of your job search. Not necessarily what you've done in the past. The headline is the future. So putting in the job titles that you're looking for is going to be important there. But in order to be found more readily, you also need to have those titles in your experience area. So my official title at Lehigh Harrison is career consultant, but that same role is known as career coach for a good bit of the industry. I'm putting both of those down. indicating that there is both a career coach and a career consultant in that title area will have me found by more recruiters. And having this pipe, the straight up and down thing that is right above your enter key on your keyboard, indicates either of these titles is appropriate for this role. If you think you need to translate your title that your company gave you into something that is more of an industry standard or a marketing standard, go ahead and do that. Companies can give some really strange titles, translate it for the recruiters and the hiring managers. The other thing to do in the title area is to explain what precisely you did, particularly if you have a very broad, imprecise title. So in this title of Senior Manager of Training and Development, my whole purpose there was to translate our classroom training into e-learning and on-demand training. So in parentheses, I put down other titles that were appropriate for the role that I had. So my official title was one thing, but my expertise and the things that I could do in my next job because of what I did in this job, I put in parentheses. You've got a fair amount of room here. You can expand the information that you have. And if you had a role like a project manager or a program manager or a business analyst, those could be any types of work that the company wanted you to do. Give a little bit more information to the recruiters. And really, titles are best here. Don't try and put skills necessarily here. Titles work best because the recruiter's not looking for skills in these areas. They're only looking for titles. Other things that you're going to want to do in order to make your profile better and to stand out is you're going to take a look at this add profile section area. The first part is the core area, and it's saying that you really need to have something in education, what your role is, if you had a career break at some point, or what your skills are. That's what they want you to have basically. The about section will also be in there too. Recommended though, are some additional fields that you might want to put in there. Licenses and certifications. Have you had any courses that you took during the time that you were working that indicate that you are a lifetime learner or able to learn new skills? Adding courses is going to give you a good opportunity to show how you have been learning skills on the job. And that's going to be of interest to most recruiters and hiring managers because they're going to hire you when you are 70% qualified for the job. The other 30%, they're willing to train to do it their way. Being able to say that you have taken classes along the way, nice way of indicating that you're capable of learning new skills. The other courses that you may want to put in this area are the ones that you got from the compliance team or the legal team that came out every year. You had to take classes that were associated with your role. And those would be the things that would be anti-corruption and bribery. Did you have a code of conduct? Did you have an ethics awareness? Did you have a money laundering? Do you have IT security? I have to take classes at LHH. Putting them on my LinkedIn profile shows a new company that I recognize the importance of doing this on a yearly basis. Even though I will complain about it, I'll still do them. But it also says that you're willing to take them in your next job too, and you've got some expertise in these areas because you passed it. So adding more courses is going to be a positive indication to a new company that you're capable of learning anything that might be coming up. Now, in the additional area, there are even more things that you can add into your profile. Do you do volunteer experience activities? Did you have any honors and awards? Certainly, if you've been in sales, you want to be able to add that. Publications and patents needed to be on here. If you are bilingual, adding a language, and within this language, They're going to be asking for a specific language, but then they're going to be asking for the level of proficiency. And that's going to be an important part of whether you're going to be either full professional working efficiency. You can apply for jobs that are bilingual. If you're limited or elementary efficiency, you probably don't want to go for the bilingual roles. But that's the indication to a new company on the things that you're able to do. Other things that are in this area is this add projects. On your LinkedIn profile, you're probably putting in most of the information from your resume. And on your resume, you've got bullet points that are nice, terse little statements of what you did, how you did it, what the results were. You don't have much space there. But if you look into this add projects area, it allows you to give a name for an activity that you did, and it gives you 2,000 characters to write up what you did. This is a huge amount of information. This is a great amount of space. So you can put in all the steps. Here's what the background was. Here's what I did. Here's who I did it with. Here are the obstacles that I overcame. Here are the results. You can put in a huge amount of information, and this is even more than what you would give in an interview answer sometimes. So utilize this because, once again, this is searchable information. Putting in examples of how you use skills is going to make it all the more easy for a recruiter to find you. Now, at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile, you've got your interest area. And you can add in top voices. This used to be called influencers. These are people who are posting on LinkedIn on a very regular basis, quite often 2 or 3 times a week, that you're interested in hearing more about. Those will appear on your homepage. You can have a list of companies that you follow. So being able to add companies that you're interested in. This is how you're getting into the, are you following the talent brand for the company? It's adding them into this section. Are you involved in any groups? Groups can be important because they indicate where your interests are. And schools, the schools that you went to will automatically appear here because they're picking it up off of that education section. But you can follow more schools than just the ones that you attended. And that's going to be important in your networking. So let's talk about getting onto the company page and indicating that mutual interest. If somebody could, in either the chat feature or just shout out, give me the name of a company you're interested in. McKesson? We'll do McKesson. That came out first. There are going to be a fair number that come up. Look for the one that seems to have the logo and that it's a company in your area or in your industry. Now, you can follow it immediately, but you're really going to want to go out and view the page. And when you're viewing the page, you've got some information. You've got an about section. And new to the about section is this: are you interested in working with us in the future? This is a field that recruiters have requested from LinkedIn. They've just added it in fairly recently. But if you click the I'm interested, that tells all recruiters at McKesson that you're interested in working with them. And that's a huge plus because recruiters are going to look at the people who are interested in them because it's so much easier to be able to convince them to have an interview, to accept the job once it's offered, and to stay in the company once they're there. So it's in the about section. Not every company has it yet. Thank heavens McKesson did. Thank you to Veronica for picking one that has that. You can take a look at their posts to see what their activities are. This would be the type of information that's generally going to appear on your homepage once you followed the company. But in this job section, you can create a job alert for McKesson. And when you create a job alert, it's a little bit more specific than just saying, I'm interested. It's going to be a drop-down screen. So if you wanted to be in the project delivery manager, putting in a geographic location. Not as necessary, but a lot of companies still are looking at bringing people back into the office. You can always talk about remote, but when you create the job alert, LinkedIn is going to help you out so that when the recruiter from this company posts a job on LinkedIn and says, we're looking for a project delivery manager, LinkedIn is going to push back with a list of people who have created a job alert for that position and have the skills on their profile that match what McKesson is looking for, and is going to give that list of people to the recruiter. So the recruiter posts the job, LinkedIn sends back a list. Here are 12 people who have indicated an interest in this type of role with your company and who seem to have the skills on their LinkedIn profiles. Check these guys out. Recruiters do that. That is an easy way to get somebody into their company. So look at the jobs tab, not necessarily for the job openings. It's quite often easier to navigate those on the company's website, but go into the jobs in order to create a job alert. LinkedIn will only allow you to have 20 job alerts. Some of them you're going to set up in the job tab, but if you wanted to set up one for a company that is highly targeted by you, you can do that. Now, it also gives you information about the people who work here. So if we click on people, it says that there are 21,000 employees at McKesson, and they give you 2 columns. Here's where they live, and here's where they study. If we wanted to, let's open this up a little bit more. Let's say that we wanted to join the company in the Atlanta area. 1,635 people in this area. And here they all are. This is way more people than you want to go through, even though they're only 1,000. But you're going to want to be able to take a look by using these arrows here in order to find new columns. Oh, and that's a little enough. So what they do is, what department do they work in? And let's say in this case, we want to work in quality assurance. So now we're down to 46 people in quality assurance. Using these again, what they're skilled at and what they studied are coming from their LinkedIn profiles. But this is a nice area to look at. Are you connected to any of the people in this group that you've identified so far? Because if you have a first-degree connection with somebody, that's going to be a nice indication that you can send a message to them. I've applied for this role at McKesson. Do you know anything about who the hiring manager is or who the recruiter is? Can you send them a note indicating that I'm a good fit for this role? So if you click on first degree, that didn't work. Didn't find any there. Do I have any second degrees? Okay. You can connect with second degrees, but you need to have a reason. Anytime you're connecting to somebody on LinkedIn, you have just 300 characters to convince them that you are worth connecting to. And you never use the white connect button, because the white connect button sends the automated response, I'd like to be part of your LinkedIn network. And a lot of people feel really comfortable ignoring those requests. But in connecting to a second degree, and let's go on to her profile, we're going to be able to use the blue connect button here and say, I see we have LinkedIn members in common in our network. Would love to connect with, or I am considering McKesson as a possible career shift. How do you like working there? Let's connect. Making sure they know that you've got something in common with them, even if it's people in your networks that you have in common. There can be a lot of other reasons why you have something in common with this person. But sending it through a blue connect button is going to be better because you can personalize it then. So as you go through and take a look at the people and the titles, you're generally going to want to be looking for the people who have a picture of themselves and possibly if they have a background already set up. Those are the people who are probably a little bit more engaged on LinkedIn and are probably going to be easier to connect with. Now, if you're looking to get into a position with a company, finding that hashtag hiring around somebody's headshot is going to be a good person to connect to also, because they're indicating they're looking for people. It'd be nice if they were finding you. And your connection there is going to be, I've applied for this role at McKesson because of my skills or experience in blank, blank, blank. Would love to connect and start a conversation. You don't need an awful lot of room in order to create a good connection request. But one of the things that you might want to, let's get rid of the second degrees. It's always good to connect to recruiters. So let's find the people who have a recruiter title, and this will bring up not just the people who are currently holding a title of recruiter or talent acquisition. It'll also bring up everybody who has ever had a title of recruiter. So you'll have to sort these people out. So coming up first, nice to see the hashtag hiring, but here's somebody who is HR strategy and operations, probably was a recruiter at one time, probably not at this time. So finding the people who still are either talent acquisition or recruiter, sort it out, find the ones who are probably best suited. You want to stay away from the college university ones unless you're graduating right now. Some are executive recruiters. If you are in that executive area, you would use those, but otherwise not. Quite often you're going to need to send connection requests to maybe 3 people in the HR department before you get one that responds to you. Now let's say that there are other people that you want to be looking for in the Atlanta office, and it's going to be the hiring manager. So the person who's going to hire is going to be the director of IT. And the 34 people who have that title now or who have ever had that title. Once again, you're going to need to sort through them, find the ones by reading their profiles that might be most important. Then you connect with them by saying, I've applied for, and then give the exact job title because of my skills and give something compelling as to why you would be qualified for that role. Looks like it might be in your area, would love to connect. If it's not your team, let me know who I should be talking to. But at least it gives you the opportunity to find out who the people are that might be in the line of interviewing and decision makers on that job that you're applying for.
Ruth, we've got a couple questions that have popped in. Sorry I didn't bring them up sooner. Parth asked, do headhunting recruiter messages count towards likely to respond?
Yes, they do.
Any message you get counts. Activity, you just want to be active on LinkedIn. Let's see here. I don't have any recruiters contacting me through LinkedIn, but somebody else said here, I have recruiters that are finding me on Monster or other platforms. You want to be every place.
It depends on the
Um,
type of role you're looking for, of course. If recruiters are finding you, that is excellent. Be aware that there is a time frame that they'll find you, and then your information gets stale and they can't find you anymore. If you're on Monster or Indeed or Glassdoor, any of the job boards, and you post your resume to those, recruiters are going to be able to search and find you. But one of the filters that recruiters use on those boards is, I only want to see resumes that have been posted in the last month. So they don't pull up people from 5 years ago that aren't useful to them. So if you posted your resume to any job board outside of LinkedIn, you need to repost it every 2 to 3 weeks. And it can be the exact same resume. It just needs to have that date stamp. So it's a recent, interested in finding a job person.
right. All right, that's it. That's all we've got in the comment field so far.
Okay, good questions. Excellent. All right, let's talk about other ways that we can be doing some networking. And that's through a college or a university. So if somebody could shout out a school or a university they've attended.
UTD.
Okay. All right. University of Texas at Dallas. Once again, you can always follow it, but we're going to view the page. And in this case, we're not concerned about jobs. And instead of people, they keep track of alumni. So when you take a look at the alumni side of this, you can see that there are 138,846 people who have attended UTD in the last 123 years and who have a LinkedIn profile. The information that they're giving you is where they work, where they live. It's going to be similar to the types of information we saw on a company page. But this where they work is a tremendously important piece for us. So if we wanted to say, I'm interested in working at Amazon, there are 1,100, let me open this up so you can see it. There are 1,175 people who are currently working at Amazon. There's 666 at Amazon Web Services. And the other companies on this list, the Google, the UTD, Microsoft, these are people who used to work at Amazon and are now indicating that they are employed by a different company. So if we wanted to concentrate on Amazon, we can take a look at all the people who are currently working at Amazon, or we can start using the columns where we say, what do they do? I want to be in information technology. That brings us down to 83 of them. And maybe we want to have somebody who is skilled at data visualization. Now you're down to 18. 18 is a reasonable number to be looking at. You can take a look at these folks' actual profile and see a little bit more about them. But when you're connecting to somebody who went to the same school that you did, you're going to start off your message request as, I see you also attended UTD. I enjoyed my time there. I'm interested in Amazon as a career move. How do you like working there? Let's connect and catch up. Or you can be more specific. I see you went to UTD. I did too. I have applied to a job in data analytics at Amazon. Then we connect and talk about questions to expect. People connect to college alumni. It's one of the best connections that you can have, regardless of what school it is. Being able to say, I went to the same school you did, gives an automatic connection, and people will engage and help you out. And don't do it just for the schools that you went to. If your spouse went to a different school, you can follow that school and you can use that alumni group by saying, I see you went to Texas A&M. My wife enjoyed her time there. So now you've got a connection. It's not quite as strong as having gone there, but at least you're saying that you've got a connection and you probably know a good bit about this school. So utilizing the company to find the people by their occupation and by whether they are connected to you is a strong way to connect. And using a university or college to connect because you have that in common is going to be a strong way to make that connection. And you'd be surprised at the number of people who are willing to help you out that graduated 20 years apart from you. Now, real quick, make sure you're active on the home page. On the home page, you're going to have information in the center section that LinkedIn is curating and pushing to you because it thinks that you've indicated some interest in that type of activity. You can change that by utilizing the three dots here, clicking on that. You can say that you don't like this or that you do like it so that you get more of that. Being able to comment on somebody's post is going to give you some additional points to your profile. LinkedIn wants you to be active, and this is one of the best ways to be active. This like feature over here lets you put one of these icons in. Don't use those. Those are too Facebook-ish, and from what we're hearing, those don't give you any points. Use the comment section and put in at least 12 words. It used to be 6, then it was 8, now it's 12. So it can't just be thanks. It needs to be thanks for sharing. I find this interesting. I appreciate learning more about this. But LinkedIn is asking you to start a dialogue, to become engaged, to try and get more information from these posts so that you're learning a bit more too. Right-hand side is generally going to be ads. Left-hand side is going to be information that is going to be more about you. Hashtags, groups, and things of that sort. Hashtags can be used in order to drive more content to you of a specific sort. So if we wanted to use a hashtag, and you always use the pound sign and don't put a space after it, it's the same as any other social media. Say you're in oil and gas. That didn't work. There it is. You can't use the enter key up here. You always have to choose one of these drop downs. So here we've got 327,000 people who are following this and are interested in the oil and gas industry. Everything on this page deals with oil and gas. Some of them are going to be jobs, some are going to be new activities that are associated with oil and gas. But if you were interested in this, you can click the follow button and LinkedIn is going to be pushing that information into home. It can be any topic at all. It can be something fairly broad like management, where you've got 35, nearly 36 million people following that. If you're interested in a topic, LinkedIn is allowing you to pick and choose the information that's going to be showing up in your homepage. Okay, questions about anything we covered?
Anybody have any questions? You're welcome to unmute your mic and ask away. We're just about out of time. Going once, going twice, anyone? Well, I guess not. Ruth, thank you very, very much. Great information today, as always. If you'd like to connect with Ruth, here's her LinkedIn profile. You know, and I think as you probably heard throughout the the day here or during Ruth's presentation, is send that personal note. Let somebody know why we should connect with you. So if you want, you can reach out to Ruth right here. This is what her profile looks like. Send that personal note. All right, next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. Terry is much more into the marketing part of, instead of recruiters trying to find you, as far as what you can do to reach out to other people. The session will not be recorded to view after the event. So if you do want to watch Terry, you will need to watch him live next Tuesday. All right, if everybody will please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Thank you very much. As Ruth mentioned, whenever you see a white connect button, don't click on it. What you want to do is click on the person's face and then click on the blue connect button. If you're on a PC or Mac, a blue connect button will allow you to send a personal note. Now, if you're using the LinkedIn app on your cell phone or on a tablet, the blue connect button will send the automatic connection request. What you need to do is click on the little three dots, the little hamburger that's just off to the right, and open up the sub menu that'll say personalized invitation. That way you can send that personal note. So always do. Personally, I don't use the app on my cell phone. I use it if I have to look somebody up. But if I'm going to send a connection request, I do it from my desktop. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us. Tomorrow, the practice interview team, I think we're going to be seeing an actual practice interview. If not, we will do one of our 13-part lessons on interviewing that we've got on the website. So come join us on Zoom tomorrow. This Thursday, a really interesting presentation. I really encourage everybody to put this on your calendar, Thursday at 1 o'clock. Rick Gillis will be with us to talk about accomplishments. What, wow, and the accomplishment-based resume. Rick's been helping job seekers for years and years and years. He's come up with this method. This is what he gets his clients to do. I think you'll find it very interesting, very different. I haven't seen anybody else make it as simple as this, but also sort of explain what to do. So please join us Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. And then this Friday, we've got a great program at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, labor law issues. Our speaker, Lisa Voltmer, is a board certified in labor employment law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. She will here to be talking about labor law issues. If you have any questions you'd like me to ask her, for her to talk about, please send me a note by Wednesday at noon, and I will get those questions to her Wednesday evening, and she'll be sure to include those in her presentation. But it'll be a very interesting presentation on labor law. She represents companies. She does not represent you or I. If we were trying to sue a company or try to do something, she represents companies. So she'll tell you from her point of view what she's seeing out there. It's always a very interesting presentation. If you'd like to join the Career DFW, Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join one or both. The Career DFW group, you don't have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to do that. We have over 14,800 members. The reason you can join one or both, I just started each one of those groups when I started the websites. This session has been recorded. You will be able to see it on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Every time we go live on Facebook, you'll get a little alert. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, when you do that, you will get an email every time we posted a new video, which we post a new video 3 or 4 times a week. So when you go to the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist, because I have over 500 videos currently up there. But if you click on playlist, select the one you want, in this case, LinkedIn at the very bottom there, click on the red arrow where it says view full playlist, and then up will come a list with all the different dates and topics and titles, and you can go back and find whichever speaker or topic you want to hear about. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, please join the Career USA mailing list. Grab your camera, click on this little QR code. It will start an email. All you have to do is hit send. You don't have to put anything in the email. Just click on it, or you can send an email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed, but what you will get on a daily basis is the topic of the day, the title of the topic of the day, and most specifically, the Zoom link of the day. That way you can open up the Zoom link and you can join us every day. Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 14 and a half years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Have a great Tuesday, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday for some great programming.